True Heel Phenom SP3. We are here for our first ever live stream roundtable review, reviewing New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15, Day 1. I am here with the one, the only, the man that is the representative of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, past, present, and future, the host of J-News Japan. It is J-News.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a long 10 days for me without having to record an episode. My bad for not talking about the 22nd and the 23rd. But, you know, the main show, Wrestle Kingdom 15, Day 1. This is what we've been building up to the entire year of 2020, the crap fest that was 2020 as a year, not for the organization itself as a New Japan. Yeah, man, it's time to get this show on the road. If you guys see my eyes veering off, it's because I'm still currently watching the main event silently.
He's a little behind schedule. He wasn't like us over here in the US that stayed up late, or in the UK he woke up early. But we welcome all of you to our special roundtable review, first ever live roundtable review that we have here. We're going to have more guests join us as we go on, but this is a reminder to you guys watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching on demand, give this video a thumbs up, share this video with all your wrestling fans and friends. Of course, there is the iCard there. You could push that to subscribe, or the subscribe button right under this video, and of course push the bell to click all for all notifications for all the great content right here on True Heel Heat, so you always get the notifications when we go live like this, which we will be doing a lot more often. We started off the year hot with True Heel Heat 106 as we talked about the passing of Brody Lee, aka John Huber. Before we get into New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15, Day 1, any thoughts on the passing of Brody Lee, J-News?
You know, it came to mind to me thinking about wanting to record the episodes for the Road to Tokyo Dome shows, and wanting to basically pay tribute to John Huber, aka Mr. Brody Lee. Bro, I was obviously, we were all taken aback by what happened, right? It was very it was something that happened suddenly. His wife said it was a non-COVID related lung issue, things of that nature. I've been alive long enough and privy to have watched some tribute shows over the last 20 years on TV. Nothing like this. Nothing like what AEW did on Dynamite. It was perfect, man. To be completely honest, it was a perfect show from top to bottom. I posted something on my Instagram where I stated that there wasn't a dry eye in the house, bro. From the time that they put the 10 bell salute, and then Mox cut his tribute to him, I was welling up, and I didn't know Brody. I've been watching him for the last 10 to 12 years between the Indies and the WWE and AEW, of course. I didn't know the man who John Huber was, but it's like a lot of people always say, he's been on our TVs for the last decade. You know, you feel like you've grown to know the characters that he's played, but also the man behind the scenes, because the WWE as a company does a good job of highlighting and showcasing who these guys are behind the character at times with their documentary type series and stuff like that. And it shook me, bro, to be quite honest, man. It between 2005 and 2007, when Eddie Guerrero and Benoit passed away. After Benoit passed away, I stopped watching wrestling for 5 years. It was hard for me to watch because two of my all-time favorite wrestlers were no longer there, and I wasn't invested in anybody else in the company who was currently on the roster at that time. So it was easy for me to turn off the switch. And with Brody's passing, he's such a good man. such a good family man, such a leader in the locker room. As been told, just like random videos that you see online of him interacting with his fans and stuff like that. How cool and how good of a person he was. Yeah, man. I think the moment that got me the most during the tribute show on Wednesday, between Eddie Kingston's side promo, not the one he cut live on the mic, but the one that he cut on camera, and then Eric Rowan coming out for the save and him putting up that sign. Yeah, dude, I broke down. It was too much for me to take, and I felt like, I felt like a family member had passed away at that point, man. Just because I was so just used to. I knew he was off of TV for the last 2 months, but he was still such a presence, as a wrestler and as a person, in AEW and across the wrestling lexicon, obviously.
Yeah.
That it was just one of those things that hit us all hard, I think. And watching his son Brody Lee Jr. Get that commemoration, that when Tony Khan gave him the iteration of the TNT Championship and stuff like that, and him being involved with MJF and stuff like that. That was like, I was talking to a common friend of ours during the show and whatnot, and I was like, that's how regardless of how much of a big time heel he is, how good of a person MJF is for letting his son hit him with the kendo stick, no matter how light the hit was. Because Sid, you've taken a few of those kendo stick shots yourself, sir.
Yes, I have.
And it was awesome, man. It was awesome to watch. It was very heartfelt the entire night. And it was man, I didn't even know what to say by the end of the show, to be quite honest. And for Tony Khan as the CEO and operating person of AEW to do what he did and doing what he's doing for John Huber's family is above and beyond anything else I've ever heard of any promoter, let alone an owner of any company doing for an employee. And I think that, in all honesty, hopefully, you can't tell the future, obviously, and hopefully this sort of thing doesn't happen. But as wrestling fans, we know that untimely deaths are kind of common within the industry. I just hope that we don't have to see a show like this anytime soon again. I just feel like folks' hearts and their minds won't be able to take it. You know what I'm saying? Just because from an emotional standpoint, it's very draining, man. And being part of the wrestling community as I am, and an avid purveyor of the hip hop culture as I am, RIP to MF Doom. It's just one of those things where it's like having all of a sudden within a week span, it's like all this stuff is happening and people are passing away, and it's just like randomly, and they're not dying of old age or natural causes. It's just tragic, man. And I know I sound all over the place, but at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where you don't necessarily know how to focus it and know where to put it. But I just wanted to say that the show was perfect. AEW did a great job. I know the WWE got shit for their tribute to him on Raw per se, but they did do a lot of online YouTube related stuff and other things on SmackDown from what I was told, and things of that nature. You can't necessarily expect the company that he's not currently working for, or that he was currently working for, to do as much as AEW did, and that's just perspective, I think. It was more of a respect thing. But the wrestlers over on the WWE side, they were just as struck as the wrestlers on the AEW side, and they paid their tributes and their respects to John Huber as well, which is what I was just looking for and expecting and stuff like that. It's just one of those things where it's rare when you get when you hit a moment like this and universally everyone is saying and thinking the same things. Usually there's the one outlier, there's the one troll, there's the small percentage. That doesn't even exist with Brody Lee, and that just goes to show you, how good of a person he really, really was, and how much of a talent, and how missed he's gonna be. So I just wanted to say that much, in regards to that. So thank you for letting me speak about that.
Of course, man. Like we had to, get your thoughts on it. Been getting everybody's thoughts on the, individual shows. We got in the live chat, we got Uptown Avondale. What's going on, good brother? One of the elite good eggs from Wrestling Daily coming over and watching our New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 Day 1 Roundtable. He says, if you aren't prepared for more tears, don't watch today's BTE. Eddie Kingston will get you. I think I saw the little clip with Eddie Kingston talking backstage with the other guys. We also have Uptown Avondale. He loves his SP puns, so he's calling me Stripper Pole 3. So he's getting a little bit more edgier since we're on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel here. And we also got the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson, in the live chat. Says, wish I could have gotten in on this roundtable action. Great first night for Wrestle Kingdom. Can't wait for night 2. We're gonna get into that. And also Uptown Avondale says, I've been trying to wrap my head around how much this passing hurts, and it hit me while logging in for work this morning. With COVID and isolations, we are all hurting, and this was cathartic. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It's really, like J-News said, it's really brought the wrestling community together, and that's what we want to see. When stuff like this happens, we have to come together. We're a community, but we're also like a little family. So to come together and to mourn together, it only helps the whole process. So let's get into New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom Day 1 Roundtable Review. This was live from the Tokyo Dome this morning on New Japan World. I didn't get the exact number. I don't know if you did for the attendance. I know there was a lot of controversy over the past week if this was even going to go down. There is like a state of emergency in Tokyo at the moment due to a rise in coronavirus cases. But luckily, there was fans in attendance, and I would say overall, my thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom 15 Day 1 was this was a memorable show, and I it's a different type of Wrestle Kingdom due to the restrictions, due to the limited capacity crowd. But I think that New Japan put their best foot forward with their first major show of 2021. So what was your overall thoughts before we get into the matches, J-News?
I can't disagree with your thoughts about it being a memorable show. Just on the fact that history was made for certain talent. The matches, of course, were just top notch, top quality, what you expect from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Nothing let down. Even the Rumble at the beginning for the King of Pro Wrestling had a finish I would have never expected, in true Toru Yano fashion. That was just the most minimalist thing to do. It was great, man. And to see how they were able to encompass the old, the current, and the future in Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 1 was pretty cool as well. We had Masachono on commentary for a bit. Ricky Tenshu came out for a small bit, or whatever the case is, with the commentator in the ring. We also had that Don King impersonator, the Japanese Don King.
Kinchi, I believe his name is. I will say the theme song is definitely stuck in my head right now. It's stuck in my head, and he just brought so much energy. And I will say it here right now: Don Kinchi is greater than 90% of the WrestleMania guest hosts that we've ever had in history. we ever had. He didn't outstay his welcome. He was there for the right amount of time. He had the Ricky Chochu coming out with his grandson who was crying. I know our main man Romeo Anthony Colon, he was getting upset. He said that if the card wasn't on top notch, it's because of the kid crying at the start. So so that was a fun beginning to the main show for Wrestle Kingdom 15 day one. But we got to get into the matches, good brother. So we started off things on the pre-show with the New Japan Rambo, their version of the Royal Rumble. It was originally supposed to be 22 men, but apparently at the end of it winded up being 21 man. You can get eliminated by pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope. And the final four would meet for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021, the first winner on day 2 tomorrow. They started off things with the Bullet Club's Chase Owens and Tomohiro Ishii. And I thought it was a solid start, and then things just wrapped up immediately with Minoru Suzuki being the next entrant. Of course, Ishii and Suzuki trading the strikes. Then it went up even a more level to Yuji Nagata being the next entrant in Tori Hanare, Hiroki Goto, Yujiro Takahashi, Yoshihashi followed from there. You also had Toge Makabe, Tomoyaki Honma, Hiroshi Tenzan. You also had Rocky Romero and Dookie. Dookie became the first person who was eliminated by disqualification that I've ever seen in one of these Rambos. I've never seen a Rambo where someone was eliminated by DQ. So that, I don't know if that's history. You could tell me better than anyone, J-News. You also had Sho, Bushi, Tiger Mask, Bad Luck Fale. You had the Young Lions of Gabriel Kidd, Yura Uramori, Yoda Suji. And then finally, it came down to the final entrant, who was Toru Yano.
Don't forget Bushi. Bushi was in there too. Don't forget Bushi.
I mentioned him. I mentioned him at the show. Bushi was in there. Bushi went to the outside on a suicide dive on Yujiro and literally stayed out there. He even tried to keep the Young Lions out of the match. Then eventually they all got in. They tried to gang up on Bad Luck Fale, but him and Chase Owens double teamed all of those guys, eliminated the Young Lions. And before Toriano could even get in the ring, before he was even down the entranceway, we were down to the final four, and the match was over. It was Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale, Bushi, and Toru Yano is our final four for tomorrow's King of Pro Wrestling 2021, the first winner of the year. So what was your thoughts on this wild, this goofy, silly battle royal that the New Japan Rambo always is like? They always like to start us off with a smile on our face, and I think Toru Yano alone gave us that. But what was your thoughts?
But back to what I said before, the most minimalist win I've ever seen in my life. It's just one of those situations where it was fun. It was funny to watch. I had never seen a finish scripted like that before, so that was original to just even see. And I think that between Bushi, Toru Yano, and then who are the other two who are going to be in the final four?
Chase and Bad Luck Fale.
Chase and Bad Luck Fale. So I think I'm going to piggyback off of what you said during our last recording. Toru Yano, Pro Wrestling 2021. That's just going to happen tomorrow night. I have no faith in anyone else. He is the king of pro wrestling comedy. He will continue his shtick. He will come up with more creative ways, more creative matches, and we're going to need the levity for the rest of the year, depending as to how the rest of the year pans out.
Yeah,
and I thought it was just funny, and it was needed for the show because the rest of the show took quite the not a turn for the worse, but everything was just serious afterwards. There was no real levity. Everybody was fighting. It was just strong style at its finest, and to say the least, it was a good way to start the show.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you there. What would you give it as far as the star ratings? I know this is not the type of match we usually give star ratings to, but what did you give it star rating wise?
I would say, due to the finish and because of the way Chase Owens was carrying the match, I give this 3.5 stars.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, Chase and Ishii were in there for a while. I gave it 2 stars. I thought it was silly yet fun, and it was exactly what we needed to kind of start the show on a good humor note. We got in the live chat, Drugs Delaney, one of the good brothers, one of the OGs of the True Hills group page over on Facebook. He says, "What's good, Sid? What's going on, brother? Happy New Year to you. Happy Wrestle Kingdom Day, brother." We got one of the elite good eggs, the Kenny Omega, in my opinion, of the elite good eggs over on Wrestling Daily. CM Chris, he says, "Hello guys, I watched the full day one and had to sleep after that as I was exhausted. LOL." I'm right there with you, good brother. I'm right there with you, CM Chris. Thank you.
That's why I did not stay up at 2 a.m. to watch that show for 5 hours. We spoke about this yesterday. I was like, look, man, if this shit is a 5-hour extravaganza, I'm waking up later in the morning and I'm watching this shit now. There's just no way, man. There's no way. And I understand the premise behind what we do within the wrestling landscape, and being first to record or being first to post up one of the videos. But man, listen, our perspective is different. People wait to see and listen to us, so we can take it in as our followers are in the chat right now and they are engaging us. Folks, True Heel Heat is on live right now.
So. Exactly. This is it. Like I said, we're making history here. Our first ever live roundtable review. We wanted to get it hot as it was right off of Wrestle Kingdom 15 this morning. So we're one of the first to do like a live show on it. So I'm happy that people like CM Chris, Uptown Avondale, the Negro Buck are all watching. Put down in the comment section if you are watching right now the live chat, be a part of our show. We love making you guys a part of it. You guys are the reason why we do stuff like this, so we're having fun. So I hope you guys are having fun with us. So I will ask you for your first prediction for day 2, J-News. Who do you have winning this 4-way for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 trophy on day 2?
It will be unanimously Toru Yano of Chaos Faction Lore. There can be no other winner of that match. Sweet Lord. Anyways, I'm sorry. I just watched the spot third match. Toru Yano of Chaos will continue his comedic stylings for the King of Pro Wrestling 2021. Sidebar and quick PSA for those out there who watch us here on True Heel Heat and our professional wrestling fans. Ladies and gentlemen, what these professionals do in the ring is not a game. Please do not try those things at home.
I love that you took the time to put the PSA. If you're just joining us, J-News is a little behind schedule, so he's actually watching Naito and Ibushi kill themselves at the moment. While we are recording this first portion of the show. Don't worry, they didn't go a full hour of trying to kill each other, so you're probably almost nearly done with the match there, sir. But yes, we got to move on to the main show. Like we already said, the main show kicked off with Don Kinshi, the Japanese Don King, introducing Riki Chochu, who wished us a happy new year and brought us to the show. I will say I loved the opening video package with them showing the hand sanitizers and temperature checks. I was like, I've never seen a wrestling promotion promote what they do for safety. In the intro. This is why New Japan Pro Wrestling is the king of sports.
Right.
We had CM Chris back in the live chat. He said started at 7 a.m. For us in the UK. LOL. That's a good thing. At least you guys were able to wake up in the morning. I was woken up by my daughter at about 1:30, and I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to try to go back to sleep for an extra 10 minutes or so. I'm just going to stay up. I waited for the pre-show to start. I watched the Rambo with my daughter, who wasn't yet asleep. She stayed up for a good portion of the show, and then she woke up for Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito, because she's a big Ibushi fan. She even has a authentic Ibushi doll from Japan, thanks to the good brother. Thanks to the good brother, Baby Seth. And my son has a Naito doll, but he was not with it. He was not up for that match. He was like, I'm taking my nap now. I've been up since the beginning of the show. He did see the next matchup, which we'll get to, but we got CM Chris back in the live chat. He says, Yano seems to always find a way to win no matter what. Yeah, that's the best thing about Naito. I mean, about Yano. Yano just finds creative ways to win, and this was one of his most creative. Without even making it to the ring, this man is in the King of Pro Wrestling Fatal 4-Way. And I'm going to agree with J-News. I think that this trophy, this title, is a comedy title, it seems like. You can see the gimmick matches.
Yes.
So
I mean, at the end of the day, like the gimmick wrestler and the comedic wrestler in wrestling never gets his just due. He just gets his TV time, and outside of the 24/7 championship and Ron Killings, right, who's killed it as a 24/7 champion with his comedic stylings, I think that New Japan Pro Wrestling, with the style, with their style and brand of comedic wrestling, and how Toru Yano just goes about it, and how long Toru Yano's entrance commentary is now with the ring announcer and whatnot, just as long as Kenny Omega's, is just, I think it just adds to the show. He can't, I mean, unless they turn King of Pro Wrestling into something serious, right? Like where it then becomes like the equivalent of like a hardcore kind of a trophy, and they go that way. But I think it's perfect right now with the comedic silence and stuff like that. Toru Yano's the man. I think that a person who can do a lot of comedy and do it well is Hiromu Takahashi. I think if Hiromu wanted to, he could be the KOPW as well. Just as a comedy bit and things of that nature. But yeah, man, Toru Yano, King of Pro Wrestling 2021. Bring on the gimmick matches, bring on the comedy, because it's necessary and it's needed. Match number one, I think
I'll go through the matches for us, but I think you made a good point that the KOPW might be New Japan's answer to the 24/7 title. If they made it a 24/7 hours title, I think that it would bring more hilarity with Yano. Speaking of Yano, we got CM Chris back in the live chat saying Yano versus Bad Luck Fale in his last match with the sandbag was just hilarious. It definitely was. I had to catch that. But our first match was on the main show, Hiromu Takahashi going one-on-one with El Phantasmo. This was a battle of the Best of the Super Juniors 27 winner versus Super J Cup 2020 winner. The winner of this matchup would verse Taji Ishimori for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on day 2. This one got hot and heavy. I will say you have to give credit to Rocky Romero kicking off the show, saying it's January 4th. You know what that means. And Kevin Kelly letting us know that this show is dedicated to Brody Lee. Yeah, I also got to mention Phantasmo wore those Edge-inspired tights, which was a nice little touch, being a fellow Canadian. You also had Hiromu with an absolute fabulous ring jacket.
I don't even know what that was, to be quite honest. I don't even know what to call that.
It looked like he was wearing a Thanksgiving Day parade float
Yes.
to the ring. I showed my girlfriend immediately because she woke up around that time, and I said, "Look at his ring jacket," and she said that jacket is fabulous. And then her next question was, "Is he gay?" So you gotta love when a casual fan watches New Japan and you get those type of sound bites. But this one got hot and heavy very quickly. One of the first big sequences was Hiromu going for the sunset flip power bomb and ELP flipping out of it. He then springboard off of Takahashi's back, flipped back into the ring and gave him the sunset flip powerbomb. He followed that with a rope walk moonsault to the outside to the floor. Just great stuff. He was on the money in this matchup. He worked over the hand of Hiromu, kind of being the joint manipulation. He had a great avalanche Frankensteiner and then body splash for a close near fall. But Takahashi just kept fighting back, kept reversing the CR2, which Phantasmo constantly went to. Of course, with El Phantasmo, he had his nods to the former Bullet Club members with the Style Clash for a close 2. He also did the Terminator clap and a fake dive, mimicking Kenny Omega. We also had the B trigger, and he went for the One Ring Angel, which Hiromu rolled out of. In the end, Hiromu reversed the CR2 into a Hurricane Rana with the pin to get the win, and he moves on to day 2 to versus Taiji Ishimori. I'm going to give this match 3 3/4 stars. I think it just missed that next gear to kind of make it a great opener, but a very good opener, a hot way to start the show. What was your thoughts?
I can't disagree with you there. I think that from the outset of how the card was configured, right? And that being the first match, I was like, oh, they're gonna set off the night right. They're gonna, it's gonna be on fire, yada yada yada. It was a hard fought match. Don't get me wrong, because it's Hiromu, it's LP. It was good, but for whatever reason, I expected more, and I didn't get more. And I feel like, and this is me just fantasy booking and stuff like that, or whatever the case is. But if the Kenta and Kojima match would have gone first, and then Hiromu versus LP would have taken that third slot, and they were given a little bit more time, I think the match would have worked out better, because the finish with the roll up is like, well, this feud is going to continue, which isn't bad, obviously. Right?
Yeah, I think it makes sense that they didn't give too much away, and they got a bunch of time. This match went over 18 minutes, so they got plenty of time. They actually got more time than Kenta and Kojima, and I thought this was the right thing to start the show with, because it gave it a jolt of energy. But this was like the first match where it was kind of jarring to not have the full capacity crowd and the restrictions with the whole virus.
My bad. I just
no worries. But we got you gave me a chance to introduce our next guest host for this roundtable review. We got the Stat King joining us, the co-host of Review of Honor, the host of Dark Power. What's going on, good brother? The man of 1,004 numbers is here with us.
Not too much, guys. What's going on right now? I'm trying to count those numbers and get back some of the sleep that I lost. But that was an amazing show that we got to watch, and I'm just glad that night 1 is in the book, so we can look forward to night 2.
What was your thoughts on Hiromu versus ELP, and what did you give it star rating wise?
I gave the match, I would say, maybe 3.5. To me, it was a really good opener, but I felt like they were missing a gear that they could have shifted into. Yeah. I think towards the end, they kind of started to get into that, but I don't know, something about it just felt like they were holding back. And maybe we're going to see some more at New Year's Dash. Maybe it'll be like a continuation, but something about it. And in a way, it kind of, some of the matches on night 1 felt a little too obvious about what their outcome should be. And this, to me, was one of those matches. I didn't think that after everything they've done with Hiromu in 2020 and how well he had been booked, and he's not the champion, but he's main eventing every night of the Best of Super Juniors, I'm not thinking that Phantasmo has a chance of winning this match just because he won a one-day tournament out of 8 people in the United States. So, like, I get that they needed, to me, this match solely happened because they needed matches for WrestleKingdom. And it was a way to put a focus on, if you weren't paying attention, oh shit, New Japan US is a thing, and we're trying to push New Japan US. So we'll have Hiromu say that he wants to cement himself as the Super Junior, as the best of all the Super Juniors before he goes after Ishimori. let's let him face LP while also bringing up the fact that, hey, you can watch the Super J Cup that we had, the tournament that we had in the U.S. on New Japan World.
I think that you're probably right. You could have done with a little bit more setup, like even like Taji Ishimori mentioning that, oh, Hiromu, you're not even the only winner of a tournament. Just Hiromu kind of just making the challenge kind of seemed like it was like shoehorned in a bit. J-News, what was your rating for Hiromu versus ELP?
I gave it 3 1/4 stars, just because it was a good, like you guys both said, it was a good start to the show. I think I feel like my expectation level was high just because of what I had just come off of with all the Hiromu matches in the last 2.5 months, right? And he's just been wild, and it's been good, and it's been fiery, and then the character and gimmick work by LP on one show alone, right? With the Super J Cup tournament, to basically reinsert himself into the Super Junior division and everything in between. What the hell? It's my bad. I'm here like all right.
If you're just joining us, J-News is watching the main event at the same time that we're recording. So
it's the end of the match, right? It's the end of the main event. And clearly there was a winner decided in this match, but yet
yeah, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
I don't know.
I already know where you were going with that. But we got in the live chat, we got our good brother Chris G. He says, "Am I too late to discuss Yano's match of the night performance?" Yes. We just finished talking about the New Japan Rambo and Yano not even making it to the ring and making it before. That is goals. That is
Gato pulling off the Lana booking that Vince wants to do at the Rumble before Vince can do it at the Rumble.
Genius stuff right there. And we got talking about the Hiromu and ELP match. We got CM Chris says ELP got so much air for that moonsault, and also shout out to the former leaders of Bullet Club. But ELP, I think we get so enamored with his heel work and his character work that we kind of forget the fact that he's a really good worker and he's very athletic, and he kind of showed that off in this matchup for sure. We also got Ness in the live chat. He says, "My good brothers, wish I could have been on the panel for this review because the show's been great from what I've seen thus far." He is also in the process of finishing the show. He also notes, I also shout out to Tanahashi for carrying the great old cornball to a somewhat decent matchup. We're going to get to that very shortly. We're done with the opener there. We got our next predictions for day 2. Who do you have? Ishimori versus Hiromu. Let's start with you, J-News.
I mean, to go off the coattails of what the Stat King stated before, it seems like Gato and the folks backstage in New Japan are going for the obvious stuff right now. So in my estimation, the obvious thing, the ace of the Super Junior division should also be the champ, right? Yeah. So Hiromu Takahashi, I feel, will beat Taiji Ishimori in a match where these two men are in the semifinals and they will try to kill each other. And that is my prediction. Someone's limb will be separated. It will be dangling off of their body. Someone's neck might not be able to bounce back. I just don't know who. But
we got Hiromu going in with a broken hand, so he might lose a hand tomorrow. You just never know.
There's already jokes to be had because one of them's called Bone Soldier. So
you go.
The in joke right there. So who do you have, Hiromu or Ishimori, Stat King?
So this one's actually kind of tough because obviously I do want to go with Hiromu, but at the same time, I don't anticipate his leader walking out with Wrestle Kingdom with double gold, and I don't anticipate the kind of co-leader of Bullet Club leaving with a victory. But they did give G.O.D the tag titles, so there's got to be some there's got to be some, I guess, redemption for Bullet Club when it comes to how they leave Wrestle Kingdom. So part of me wants to go with the upset of Ishimori retaining, but I'm still like, it's one of those where I'm on the fence. Like sometimes when I think about like Ishimori, Hiromu, but for right now, I'll go with Hiromu. I'll probably change it like 2 hours, but I'll go with Hiromu for right now.
I'm going to make it unanimous, and I'm going with Hiromu as well to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship for the 4th time, which would be, great stuff for him. Next up, our second match on the main show was for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles, as it was Dangerous Tekkers, Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi defending the titles against the World Tag League 2020 winners, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny. There was a nice note by commentary, and commentary did an excellent job on this show. Kevin Kelly, Chris Charlton, and Rocky Romero giving us all the stats and the little facts that we needed, saying that G.O.D had never won in the Tokyo Dome, which was crazy, but it set us up for the theme that IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions never successfully defend in the Tokyo Dome, because for the 5th straight year, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles did change hands. This was a really cool matchup, and I think that it really exceeded expectations. Yeah. These guys kind of going all out in this kind of out cheating one another type of matchup. I felt like this was just an edge better than the opener as well, because it gave you a certain energy that I didn't expect from the fans. I didn't expect the fans to be in Sabre Jr. and Taishi's corner the way they were, even though the Bullet Club are the main heels of New Japan. But in the end, it was the G.O.D who pulled out the victory. Once again, Tama Tonga stealing the iron fingers of Taishi and using it on him. And then the one, the only Tonga Loa with ape shit for the win, resulting in new champions and now record-breaking 7-time IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team champions, and they broke the Tokyo Dome curse at Wrestle Kingdom Day 1. What was your thoughts and your star rating? Let's start with you, StatKing.
This one I gave 3 3/4. It was a little bit better than the opener. I liked just in a way, to me, G.O.D was put in the position of Finjuice in the World Tag League final, where Taichi and ZSJ are hitting them with everything that they can do, and G.O.D refuses to give up, refuses to surrender. The Tama Tonga kicking out of things he probably should not be kicking out of. Same thing going with Tonga Loa, and Jado being used exactly the way Jado should be used in this moment to provide that perfect distraction that lets them get the victory. The only difference between them and Finjuice is that they actually are able to pull out the win. I really like this match. In a way, I almost thought that this one should have been the opener as opposed to Hiromu and Phantasmo, just because it had that little bit of extra. But maybe Hiromu and LP were something that was needed to wake the crowd up, to get them behind G.O.D when they came out and as they were telling the story. But a really well-paced match. So yeah, 3 3/4.
We got in the live chat Immortal Wizard saying ZSJ is an absolute joy to watch wrestling. I gotta agree with him. He had a different energy playing the babyface role in this match. Talking about the previous match we talked about, Uptown Avondale says, I just want to see Hiromu wrestle in that coat. Yes, the Thanksgiving Day Parade float that Hiromu came out in was immaculate, and probably the best ring jacket of the night, in a night full of fantastic ring jackets. We got Chris G saying that's as far as I got so far watching the main show soon, giving his notes on Yano's match of the night performance from before. We got WrestleManiac in the UK. Shouts out to the UK and shouts out to you, WrestleManiac. I've seen you in the comments section before for Wrestling Daily. He says Takahashi for the win. You guys know Takahashi is my absolute favorite, so I was happy with that being the opener, happy with him getting the win. We also got Uptown Avondale saying the thing that WWE will never understand is obvious. It's perfectly fine when you pull it off properly. And I think he's talking about the predictable finishes, the predictable stuff. sometimes fans just want stuff to make sense, and the stuff that is predictable is the stuff that makes sense. You don't have to swerve us all the time, is the point that I think Uptown Avondale is trying to make, and it's a very good point to note here. What was your thoughts on G.O.D versus Dangerous Tekkers and your star rating, J-News?
All right. So I would have to say that I agree with the Stat King here in saying that I think this match should have led off the night with the way that it went. The pacing was good. The action was quick. The action was hard. The action was I would say it was nonstop. There wasn't too much stop and pause with this particular match. And this was the first, like, I had already watched the Ramble, and then I watched the Hiromu versus LP match. And with this particular match, I felt like it focused me in on the show. Like, it got me really into the show at this point. And that's where I was just locked in from the rest of the night out. Ain't nobody realer than gorillas, man. That's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at this point, it was inevitable. 7-time IWGP heavyweight tag team champions. What else can these two brothers do? I say nothing unless they go and run the gamut elsewhere. But that's another conversation for another time. So you know, it was the best I have seen Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. work as a team, right?
Yeah.
Together as a unit, right? Because usually you get the ZSJ stuff, you get the Tai Chi stuff, you'll get them with sporadic tag team stuff, but throughout the match, they worked as a well-oiled machine. So that I got to give them credence and props for. And like I said, G.O.D is just stellar, man. And those boys, they were on a mission. They bring out those trophies. They bring out Jado. Jado wasn't even needed necessarily in the match, and they got the win. And that's what it's about. To give my overall rating, I gave this 3.5 stars. It was a very well worked match. Regardless of it's like was what had been commented in the live chat. The predictability of the match is cool as long as it makes sense, right? And it completely made sense in this point. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. to win this match at all. There was just no way. You know what I'm saying? But as long as they made it make sense, it just made it all worthwhile at the end of it all. So those are my thoughts.
I don't think it was like totally out of the question for Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. to win here, but I will say that G.O.D was the better option, so I'm glad that they went that route. And we had new IWGP Tag Team Champions. We got WrestleManiac UK saying, SP3, love, bro. Love you too, man. Happy New Year. Happy WrestleKingdom Day 1 to you, sir. And I hope you watch our Day 2. We're going to record that. We're not going to do a live stream for that one, but that's going to be up either tomorrow or on Wednesday right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. But third match on the card was Kenta defending the IWGP United States heavyweight title, right to challenge contract versus Kojima. Before the match, though, we had a vignette, and it got me very excited. In the New Japan USA ring was the one, the only, the purveyor of violence, the Death Rider, Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley says that he is returning to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that the boogeyman of New Japan Pro Wrestling is returning, and he's coming for the winner of this matchup. This matchup was another one, in my opinion, that exceeded expectations. Excuse me, I didn't give my star rating for that last match, but I gave G.O.D versus Dangerous Tekkers 3 3/4 stars for anyone who's taken note. But this matchup between Kojima and Kenta definitely exceeded expectations, in my opinion. I think that we forget that Kojima is one of those, former stars, those New Japan dads of the company, and he brought it here. He was hard hitting. There was a lot of stiff strikes. We had Kenta with one of the hardest palm strikes I've seen in quite some time. to Kojima. You know, that's what we call in Harlem a bitch slap for sure. He brought it in this one. This was hard hitting, very solid affair. I gave this match 3.25 stars, just over about 14 minutes of action here. What was your thoughts, J-News?
I'll say this. Koji still got the juice, man. Koji still got the juice. He ain't lost it, man. He's 50, but man, he can still work with the younger generation. And you know, he always puts those young lions to shame, using that lariato every single time for the win.
Lariato.
And watching him here with Kenta was, like you said, man, it was above expectations. I didn't think much of it. To be quite honest, if I'm being completely honest, I thought this could have been a potential Kenta squash match. That's what I really, really thought. Just taking care of Kojima in a quick and swift way, but that didn't happen. They laid the leather down. They tried. That bitch smack, son. That open hands bomb strike that Kenta throws, man. That match he had with Brody King on New Japan, when he was hitting Brody King with that shit, I was like, nah, man. Like that's not the way to go. I was like, well, it worked out anyways. Kenta's always throwing that move there. And man, like I said, Koji it's one of those things where it always surprises me how much life he still has in his movements, in his body, in the way that he wrestles and stuff like that at his age. So, you know, it was super dope to see that match. Kenta did retain the briefcase, as you stated, Sid. So obviously it's going to be Kenta versus Mox. I for one was a little bit surprised that I saw the Mox promo vid, just because I wasn't aware or sure that AEW was going to give him the time, not the permission, but the time to cut the promo in between everything else and whatnot.
Well, it looked like to me that they already recorded something. I think this is something that's already been recorded because Moxley's been off of TV for nearly a month now on AEW.
Mm-hmm. So it seems that he must have done it in between that time, and gone to shit. Well, he lives in Vegas, right? So LA is not a big deal for him. So yeah, man, it's cool. Mox versus Kenta isn't something I think we saw at the WWE level before. So that's gonna be a cool match to watch. Obviously, it won't go down in night 2. Maybe it'll go down for Dominion, or not Dominion, but shit, man. What's the next show after New Year's Dash?
I don't think it's going to happen in Japan. I think that it's going to happen on New Japan USA. Like they're probably
they're going to push the show.
Yeah, they're probably going to push like one of their. You know more than anyone. You do the reviews for New Japan Strong, so they probably do one of their special shows for Moxley versus Kenta.
Well, if they're going to start, if they're making that announcement about a US show coming soon, that could be easily a main event for the initial episode of that show.
Yeah, because they support, from what I read, because I hadn't caught up with any of the news until this morning, that New Japan is going to sign or is striking a new U.S. television deal with I don't know who necessarily, but at the end of the day, it's I think it's a two-prong effect, right? So if they sign that new deal with whatever television company it is, obviously it'll put eyes on that particular new show. But who's to say that we don't get that match elsewhere in the US? I'm just saying there's a possibility out there that can have a Jon Moxley versus Kenta, I don't know, main event on Dynamite maybe one night. I
don't see them bringing Moxley to California just to cut a promo. I think that it's already been filmed. I think that the match has already been filmed because you had that time. You had about 2 weeks before Kenta had to be back in Japan to do the 2-week quarantine before today's show. So I think in that 2-week span, from when Moxley lost the AEW World Title to when Kenta had to come to Japan. I think they already filmed their match there, and then they had to do this match at Wrestle Kingdom. But it is to note that Kenta got the win with the go to sleep here, and he defended the right to challenge contract for 6 separate times, which is 4 more than anyone has ever defended the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship, which is quite remarkable without winning the title. John, what was your thoughts on this match and star rating?
Well, I gave this one 3 stars. It was a little bit slower paced, which worked for what Kojima is able to do. Like J-News, I thought that this was going to be a much shorter match, much more of a Kenta squash match. That Lariato definitely made him think like he was back in Orlando, and the past 2 years have been a bit of a dream. But no, it's not. You're definitely away from there. But this was actually a really good match from what I was expecting and what I thought was going to happen. Like, we're thinking in my mind, I was like, okay, we're supposed to get Finn and Juice Robinson, and we're not. So we're getting Kojima instead. I was like, oh, this is now like I'm already lowering my expectations. And then all of a sudden, these guys are, putting on an actually really, really good match. So I thought this was well done. Kenta was very, very gentle with Kojima, despite certain moments. He was still very actually gentle and respectful while making it look as though he wasn't. So that was well appreciated. But yeah, I think 3 stars works for me.
Yeah, it was just a solidly worked matchup. And like I said, it exceeded my expectations for this battle here. We then had our intermission, and as J-News talked about, New Japan made their announcement during the intermission that they are coming to TV in America and the UK. And we know we got a lot of subscribers in the US as well as the UK, so it's good news for all of us. The rumor that I did heard, I think this was from Wrestling Observer, is that they are in talks with their former provider here in the US, Access TV. Yes. So maybe the whole talks with Rocky Romero being on the Talking Shop Keg party during Bound for Glory weekend, maybe that started things up. We have heard that Impact and New Japan are on good terms, so we can be seeing maybe New Japan back on the same network as Impact, which brings up the crossover, which brings up maybe G.O.D versus Good Brothers. I would love that. I would love all of that. We got WrestleManiac UK in the live chat once again. What's going on, Good Brother? He says Kenta's match was the lock of all locks, LOL. I have never seen a match that the result was so predictable. Really good match, though. Like we said, a lot of these outcomes, I think I was perfect in my predictions that I gave on True Hill Heat 106. I think StatKing was perfect in his predictions as well. So, day one was a lot of maybe predictable stuff, but definitely delivered high quality wrestling. Immortal Wizard says Mox is both the longest reigning WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling US champion. That is actually factually accurate. Thank you for that note there. And he's also the longest reigning AEW World Champion. So he's racking up the longest reigns there. And then we also got Uptown AV Nail back in the comments section, says somehow the Miz will cash in and cost Mox the belt. Absolutely. Great call there. You gotta mix and match. That would be a lot better than any option that WWE has for the Miz at this point. But back to the action. Our 4th match on this show was probably the match I was least looking forward to. I'm just gonna put that out there from the start.
You didn't have match of the night expectations for this? Come on.
Not at all. It was the Mr. WrestleKingdom himself, Hiroshi Takahashi, the ace, going one-on-one with Great Okan. Great Okan had constantly attacked Hiroshi Takahashi over the last couple of weeks with steel chair shots to his knee. Takahashi finally came back on him on the last Road to Tokyo Dome show. And this match was Takahashi trying to drag and haul and carry Great Okan to a good match. And I will say, it was as good as you could possibly get with Great Okan. And I think that yes, the expectations for Takahashi are high at a Wrestle Kingdom because he usually gives us one of the best matches of the night. I mean, 2 years ago, he gave us a match of the year candidate against Kenny Omega. Last year, he had one of the better matches on day 2 against Chris Jericho. Here, he just had to kind of give back to someone a little bit younger, and he did bring out a good match out of Great-O-Khan, one of the better matches of his career, in my opinion. But Takahashi pulled out the high fly foe for the first time since the G1 Climax 30. He did it twice to Great-O-Khan and got the win. I believe it was about 15 minutes of action. Like I said, this was a fine match. I gave it 3 stars, not to Tanahashi's standard at Wrestle Kingdom, but definitely a well-worked match by both men for where both men are at in their career, which is 2 totally different planes. But let's go to you, StatKing. What was your thoughts on the match and star rating?
It just, yeah, when you bring up who his previous 2 opponents are, you just think about what kind of the fall off of Tanahashi has been. And it's not the fall off of Tanahashi in the ring or anything like that. It's just the fall off of Tanahashi in the booking. And in a way, that's kind of more the story. It's more Tanahashi. The story isn't really Tanahashi versus Great-O-Khan. It could be anybody in that spot. It's more Tanahashi versus time. And that's something that they have brought up repeatedly. And to Tanahashi's credit, that in a way kind of shows just how good Tanahashi is, because he can actually continue to do what he was doing against Jericho and against Kenny Omega. He is being asked to not do that and to show kind of a weaker version of himself. And he's pulling it off pretty well. Like, his ability in the G1 to show, like, I'm hurting. His ability to show on the road to Wrestle Kingdom, I'm hurting. To the ability to show that Ibushi is going to have to carry me in some of these tag matches, I'm hurting. And now you have somebody, Great-O-Khan, saying, I'm going to try to take advantage of that. And Tanahashi is able to dig deep and say, no. I'm still the ace. I can still pull it out when I got it. And that's the beauty of using high fly flow when he hasn't used it in some time. Just pulling that out to say, no, this is still my house. This is still the house that I helped build, that I helped carry this company. And I guess Great-O-Khan got some kind of a rub from this match, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess. I don't know.
He versed
Yeah,
one of the biggest stars in the company at the biggest show of the year.
He got experience in a crowd being absolutely dead for someone's entrance, and coming out like that's important. That's important, I guess.
That was a quiet. I've never heard Tokyo Dome that quiet for an entrance. I will say that.
Yeah, I had the volume low because my girlfriend was in the other room sleeping, and she had to get ready for work and everything, and I had to like kind of raise the volume because I was like, this can't be. No, this isn't like there's nothing. And meanwhile, he's like coming out like all just like I'm a weird puppet person. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on with that, but yeah, 3 stars seems about right. It's almost kind of it almost kind of feels weird to give this match 3 stars when Kenta and Kojima had a 3-star match just before it, and that was competitive. Like, it felt competitive to me.
That's why I give that 3
I mean, but I don't know. But 3 stars seems about right for this one. But hopefully they can have somebody talk to Great-O-Khan and try to figure something out. But there's room for improvement.
How about you, J-News?
It's time for me to cut a promo right now.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Room for improvement? Are you out of your mind? Listen, bro, at the end of the day, there are two things that are certain in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Tanahashi being the ace, Okada being the rainmaker, and that is all. The Great-O-Khan is the only one to be in that ring versus Tanahashi during Wrestle Kingdom 15. This was a travesty, a sham, and a mockery to that man's legacy. I don't ever want to see it again. This was complete garbage. Tanahashi had the win from when the bell rung, and he tied his damn boots. This was stupid. I didn't need to see it. No one wanted to see it, and the crowd damn well said it because they said nothing during Okan's entrance.
This match was 30 seconds shorter than
Jesus.
Hiromu and Phantasmo. just so you know.
Who the hell
Yeah,
paid this? Who scouted the Great Okan? Get him off my screen! Anyways.
I love the passion. I love the passion, J-News.
I'm done. To Tanahashi, the great Hiroshi Tanahashi. As the Stat King said, Tana still has it. He can still bring it when he needs to. The high fly flow was used 2 times to defeat a crap wrestler because, damn it, that was unnecessary. 1 high fly flow should have been it. Anyways.
Can we buy him? Can we buy him a Great Okan shirt? Please?
Oh, I'm looking it up right now. If there is a Great Okan shirt,
There is. I know there is.
buying it for J-News. It's going to be a late Christmas Day present.
Pro Wrestling Tees is going to be so confused as to why somebody's buying a Great Okan shirt, but you know.
I need you to make sure that Great Okan t-shirt comes to me next Boxing Day. What about that?
Maybe by then he will show room for improvement.
Room for improvement, these nuts. Anyways, all I've got to say is this. All I have to say is this. The outcome was predictable. It went the way it was supposed to go. All the patented Tanahashi maneuvers were laid in during this match, which was necessary because the person he was in the ring with does not even sniff dust in his area. For God's sakes, I don't want to see him again. If New Japan pushes this guy, next match, please. Next match.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news about New Year's Dash.
Oh my God! New Year's Dash. He's probably gonna cut another promo. You can watch that on J-News Japan. Wow. That was so much passion and vitriol. I thought he was going to say that it was a mischaracter of justice. That Tanahashi was even in the ring with Great Okan. Just great stuff. J-News. We got in the live chat here. We had Uptown Avondale with the Hulk smash. I think that's referring to the Mongolian chops of Great Okan, possibly. We also got Immortal Wizard. He says, I'm not the biggest fan of the Empire stable. Hope Cobb loses tomorrow and makes them 0-3. They're not off to a good start after day one, that's for sure. And he also says, apparently Great Okan is very over in Japan. I didn't hear it. I mean, I heard it from Kevin Kelly and
Kevin said that. I was surprised because he was like, yeah, he seems to be very popular, and I was like, I don't see it. Yeah.
The announcers did a better job of trying to carry this match for Great Okan than Great Okan did in this match.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they do their best and their damnedest to put that dude over, and it just, for me, it doesn't work. It does not work.
It doesn't come over as genuine, that's for sure. But let's get to the good stuff. This is where I said it. I think I said it to you in the group chat, Stat King, that things went to the next level on this show. Our next matchup was the semi-main event. It was Kazuchika Okada going one-on-one with his former Chaos stablemate, Will Ospreay. These men have been feuding ever since Ospreay turned heel and created the Empire stable at G1 Climax Day 17, aligning with Great Okan and his girlfriend, Bea Priestley. They've also brought Jeff Cobb into the fold. It was a great sight seeing Ospreay and Bea Priestley come out with the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship as well as the World of Stardom Championship. It gave me very much Shawn Michaels and Sensational Sherry vibes, very young Shawn Michaels there.
Can I just say one thing? Yeah. One thing. Will Ospreay, sir, if you ever watch this, and I know he doesn't really, your missus, by God, her J-Lo flow during the night of WrestleKingdom was amazing, to say the least.
They came out very, very drip.
Yes.
They were drippy, but if you want to go from next level as far as the matches, if you want to go to next level drip, you also got to bring up Kazuchika Okada's jacket.
This is Battle of the Robes, Battle of the
Oh
Jackets.
my god, these were two of the best. If it wasn't for Hiromu's Thanksgiving Day parade float, I think these would be the battle for the best ring jackets of the night. But this one started off very slow with the strong lockup, but it immediately picked up. These two guys went to the floor. Will Ospreay tried to expose the concrete. He tried to focus in on the neck of Okada. Great spot later on in the matchup where Ospreay reversed the tombstone. He landed standing on the announce table and suplexed Okada over the guardrail into the announce table, which had absolutely no give whatsoever. As always in New Japan, those tables have no give at all. And this was just another example of it. Just great back and forth action. I loved how they told the story, how Ospreay was, but he was performing differently. He wasn't the showman Ospreay that we saw in the G1 climax or we saw throughout 2020 and 2019. This was a man who was focused on getting the win, focused in on the neck of Okada, constantly hitting the Bloody Sunday. He did hit stuff like the Chicky Nando's kick and the Pip Pip Cheerio, but even Kevin Kelly noted that we got to change the titles of some of his finishing moves because it doesn't fit this new Ospreay. He had one of the most violent power bombs. I compare it to the Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero matches of like 1995, with how violent that power bomb that Ospreay gave to Okada in this one. We had constant reversals and counters out of the Rainmaker and the Stormbreaker. You had Okada reversing the Oscutter into this tombstone on the freaking apron, and what a great sell by Ospreay to that one. He just broke the 20 count, and Okada caught Ospreay's wrist and brought him in with the short arm lariat. He held onto the wrist and looked for the money clip. Ospreay constantly fought out of the money clip. At one point, he broke the wrist control and tried to run at Okada, and he hit the beautiful drop kick. So many drop kicks in this one. The hidden blade. He tried to hit hidden blade to the front of Okada, not to the back of the head, and Okada caught him with a drop kick then. And then in the ending, just constant back and forth, constant reversals. Finally, Okada reversed a Stormbreaker into a sit-out tombstone. And then after 1 year of this ridiculous money clip, we finally saw the return of the Rainmaker, not once, but twice, because Ospreay used the Rainmaker on Okada for a great near fall, but then it was Okada who used his finishing move for the first time since Wrestle Kingdom 14 on Ospreay, and Ospreay with a fantastic sell. This was a tremendous matchup. It went over 35 minutes and never felt like it at all. This escalated in aggression. You had Ospreay and Okada getting more physical as the match went on. The shots to the head, the stomps, the slaps to the head, and Okada smiling to Ospreay trying to slap him. It was just great stuff. An amazing matchup, an amazing performance by both men. I gave this match 4 3/4 stars, our very first match of the year candidate of 2021, in my opinion. J-News, what was your thoughts?
Well, what can I say? It's been quite the transformation for Will Ospreay on our TV screens and streaming apparatuses, as we like to use them nowadays. This was that match. If we thought he was on the map already, this match cemented him in that main event field of play, right? That's at least that's the way that I see it. Kazuchika Okada. First of all, I didn't know that he was only 32 years old. Damn, he's young.
He's so young.
I thought he was freaking older than that. And he's been on top for so long at this point. It's because we feel like we've been through. But the physicality in this match, just how brutal Will Ospreay got with Okada. And then towards the end of the match, how brutal Okada got with Ospreay, right? Like, Okada said, nah, fuck this. Kicking him around, smacking him around. Whatever cases, he purposely threw Will into B to knock B off the apron, just like a cold Okada, you know. And it was just one of those things where I said to myself, "No, this is definitely what Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero said was true. This was definitely a different match for both of them, right? It wasn't something that that I thought I was going to see. I thought I was going to see, you know, a more aggressive Will Ospreay, but it's still going to be, you know, him doing like gainers and like big ass high flying moves and all this other stuff. Like, nah, he brought it with the physicality and the finesse and his version of a power game in a sense. And Okada was just classic Okada, but turned up to another level. And that mean streak that Okada showed in this match, I'm saying to myself, it doesn't seem, the mean streak he showed in this match makes me feel like, okay, if he's back in the title scene eventually, it's not going to be such a downer for me, right? Yeah. Because it's another side to Okada, you know. So I think that sense of character, more character evolution and development for Okada is great within itself. And obviously, we're going to see bigger and better things from Will Ospreay in the future. To give it the star rating, I gave this match 4 3/4 stars as well. Definitely early on match of the year candidate here. These guys brought it, and they brought it good.
StatKing. Well, before you go, I will put the live chat here. We got Uptown Avondale saying that it shouldn't be Pip Pip Cheerio. It should be Drip Drip Cheerio, because perhaps I agree with that. I actually like that. He also said about his Hulk Smash comment that it referred to J-News's rant, that was the Hulk Smash rant on Great O'Con there. We also got Maniac UK. Surprised Ospreay didn't win this one, but loved the Rainmaker that put him away. P.S. The money clip needs to be put in the trash. I couldn't agree with you more. Immortal Wizard says, I was happy Okada won. Didn't really get the Ospreay character. I like the new Ospreay character, in my opinion. The Commonwealth Kingpin, it just works. He's got a certain swagger to him. And he also commented, Immortal Wizard, saying Okada versus Randy Orton would be something when they are both motivated. I definitely say that's one of the best WWE versus New Japan dream matches that anybody could suggest. But StatKing, what was your thoughts on Okada versus Ospreay?
Okada is so young that rumor has it when he was born, Gato just came and gave him the IWGP Heavyweight Championship because he's held it for that long. But this was a really, really good match. Just everything from the presentation of the two of them coming out with the you know, Ospreay knows that this is Okada's time to shine, and one of the way he does that is with his entrance and his attire. So what does he do? He comes out with a robe of his own in that same style, that same, like, just that level of the gamesmanship, trying to one up each other. And these are two guys that know each other so well, just based off of not their history against each other, but their history on the same side. And that being able to be used by both men when you see someone who is a high flyer or just a more athletic person turn heel, oftentimes they start to ground themselves more, because those high fly moves are things that naturally excite an audience, naturally energize an audience, and you want the audience to hate you. Ospreay was able to find a way to do that, but not lose that high fly aspect. He's trying to hit hidden blades when he's jumping off of the top rope somehow. Like, that's just, you're not supposed to be doing that if you're a heel. You're supposed to tease that you're going to do that and then not do it. But Ospreay still is finding a way to do those moves while still retaining his level of heelish activities. And to J-News' point, Okada is reaching that point where he's just like, okay, fine. This is what you want me to do. Like, this is what you're asking for. All right, I got to give you what you're asking for. And if that means whipping you into your girlfriend while she's standing on the apron, knocking her, I didn't ask for this match. You brought this. Like, you have only yourself to blame. So I liked just the level of gamesmanship throughout this match. This was definitely 4 3/4 to me. I don't. What my problem is, I don't know what it would have taken to get that 5-star match. It just didn't feel. There was something. I'm not sure what it is. What exactly was missing? But
you know what's missing. You know what's missing. It's that IWGP Heavyweight Championship. You know what's missing.
Well, that could very well be the case. But if that match were to happen, a part of me would hope that the outcome would be a little bit different than what happened here, because a part of me really wanted Ospreay to get the win. Really, really wanted it. But I knew that, like, it's Wrestle Kingdom. It's Okada's time. Like, when Jay White pulls out the win over Okada, it just means something that much more because of how rarely it happens. And Ospreay, for everything that he has going for him as a heel, he already has enough going for him as a heel, as opposed to Jay, who needed that win in that sense. Whereas Ospreay, because of his history with the crowds, because of his history with other competitors on the New Japan roster, he doesn't necessarily need this win. But this was a incredible match, and it's crazy to think that Okada right now does not, and I don't think he will, have a match on night 2. So I think that's why, like, they just were like, let's give the people what they're looking for. Let's give them that Okada, Rainmaker must pose, I guess. And 4 3/4, but absolutely deserving for this match.
Couldn't agree more with the both of you. Just a great matchup, tremendous effort from both men. We got in the live chat, Immortal Wizard saying B Priestley was the useless manager. LOL. Yeah, more or less, probably so. But she looked good. She looked good. She was extra. She was extra next level jerp, as we said before. And we finally got to move on to the main event of the evening. It was Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito with the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships on the line. Kota Ibushi earned the shot by winning back-to-back G1 Climax tournaments in 2020. He lost the briefcase to Switchblade Jay White at Power Struggle 2020. Of course, Jay called his shot for day 2 tomorrow. So Naito wanted to prove himself by challenging Ibushi for this show. And this one, I thought they started very slow and we were going to have like a long match, a different type of match. They weren't going to try to kill themselves. And then they went to the floor. And Naito pulled out that German suplex on the ramp with Ibushi landing on his freaking neck. And I was just like, damn. But Naito went back to the new Naito, as we've seen in the G1 Climax, where he works over the neck with submissions, with the head scissors, with elbows to the neck constantly throughout this match. Ibushi tried to pick up the pace using his athleticism constantly during this matchup, but he kept fighting throughout this while Naito continued to attack the neck, hitting Gloria for a near fall at one point. One of the best spots of the matchup had to be them fighting on the apron, and it looked like Naito was about to break Ibushi's neck. They kept teasing the apron spot. We had one where Ibushi did a clothesline where Naito landed on his freaking neck. We also had Naito looking like he was gonna like power drive Ibushi on the apron, but Naito ran at Ibushi at one point and he pulled out the Hurricane Rana, which was a callback to what we saw live in Madison Square Garden J-News to their matchup there at G1 Climax, G1 Supercard. Yeah. Just great callbacks to all their matches in 2019. I thought in this one, this was just a great story told throughout this great contest. We had a couple of great near falls with Naito hitting Destino twice for close 2 counts. We had Ibushi hitting the Kamigoye. One of them was one of the greatest near falls that I've ever seen, where I thought the match was over and Naito just barely gets his arm up. And I've seen people say Roman Reigns is the best at the near fall, but Ibushi and Naito may have beaten Roman on this one because they just constantly made these very, very close near falls. In the end, it looked like Naito had this one. He tried to hit, like he hit Valencia, and then he was going for the Destino. These guys went back and forth looking for their finishing moves, but Kota in the end exposed his knee, looked for the Kamigoye again, but Naito hit an elbow, and Insiguri and Valencia. He went for Destino, but Ibushi reversed. He hit the V trigger and then landed the Kamigoye for the win in over 31 minutes, and we had a new double champion, second reign for Kota Ibushi as the IWGP Intercontinental Champion, and his first reign as the heavyweight champion. This one, once again, was an instant classic and another match of the year candidate, in my opinion. I think at first try, I was like, man, this felt more like a 5-star than the previous matchup, but I think it was just short, and I think they did leave room to go back to this match later down the road with maybe Ibushi in the challenger's position. Ibushi in the champion position, Naito as the challenger. I gave this one 4 3/4 stars. What was your opinion on this one, StatKing?
I also gave this 4 3/4 stars. This is a match that, like you said earlier, a lot of these matches, we both were 5-0 in our predictions because a lot of these matches were very predictable. And it's a testament to a performer's ability to make you believe that it's not predictable. And this was a match where, despite everything that happened, when Naito suddenly started turning a corner, you thought, wait a minute. Could it be? Could it be that Gedo finally stopped hating Naito? But no, that is not the case. Ness, if you're listening, don't watch the main event. Just say no. Don't do it.
Say no.
Just say no. Because Ibushi is on his way to becoming God, despite the fact that, Jay, he said he was God, and then Jay took the briefcase from him, but, whatever. But Ibushi here showing yet again that he does not care about his neck, and he does not care about the neck of his other person in the ring with him, because he is willing to go all out. That Hurricane Rana I did not get the chance to see that live at Madison Square Garden, so seeing that again here was just incredible. And these guys put on an incredible match. Naito is, I don't know, like Naito's 2020 was so weird because of the pandemic. It started off so high, then everything shut down for a bit, and then when he comes back, things just seem to be missing. And here he kind of showed that he can click into that gear yet again, as always, but something just seems different. And maybe this is the start of a find yourself, I guess, story for Naito, which would be weird considering he just completed a 7-year find yourself story. But I mean, it is a story that we know definitely works for Naito. And for him, I think, yes, when we get this rematch of him now in the challenger position versus Ibushi, who more than likely is retaining over Jay White, then I think that will be the 5-star match that we're looking for, or that we thought we might get with this. This one it hit everything it was supposed to hit, and it hit it out the park. But there was something missing, and maybe it wasn't the titles, because the titles were on the line in this. But either way, this was a really incredible match.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of taking it to where we thought they would with their previous rivalry in 2019, but not going too far. And that made it they just have phenomenal chemistry together. They've never had less than a great match. Some of their matches in the past have just been too dangerous. And this one was in the right realm of, it was great. They took a couple of risks, but didn't take too many to overblow it. We got in the live chat, Immortal Wizard says, I thought the main event was the match of the night for me. Ibushi better retain tomorrow. I know I'm rooting for Ibushi. I know StatKing is not, but he has said that Ibushi will retain. When do you guys, Uptown Avondale says, when do you guys think they'll separate the IC and heavyweight titles, or will the IC eventually go away? I don't see the IC title going away. I think the longer that they keep it together, the IC title will be viewed on the same level as the heavyweight title. Although I feel like it's already there. And I think that potentially maybe Ibushi will start defending them separately. But I think they need to be kept together if fantasy booking hat on, if we're going to have Thanos come in and steal it away from his golden lover. So well, we got to keep the titles together for now, Uptown Avondale. J-News, what was your thoughts on the main event, and what was your star rating?
My thoughts. I watched this match in silence. There was no commentary for me. I did have some visceral reactions that our viewers were able to catch. That when I spoke about the PSA, I had just watched the Hurricane Rana spot off the break. And I didn't want to get
and I didn't even mention the Poison Rana by Naito. That was ridiculous.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's like SP3 says, these gentlemen, these men will never have a bad match. Never. Not a one. And for them to agree with what the Stat King said, basically take it down a notch from trying to kill each other, right? Saving themselves, still giving us a super good match, something you can get emotionally and viscerally invested in, is the testament of what New Japan puts out as a right. And these two men excel at what it is that New Japan Pro Wrestling is supposed to showcase to its fans and its base. I am glad that they didn't kill each other in this match. I am glad that necks were saved in this match. I am glad that there were no table spots in this match, because I, for one, would have not liked that at all. With the way that there is no give on those tables and them trying to destroy each other's necks, someone could have died. And thankfully, there were no tables used in this match. The win for Kota Ibushi here, right? Him winning the Intercontinental and IWGP Heavyweight Championship belts puts us in a place where there are a myriad of possibilities in 2021. Obviously, he does have to retain tomorrow night against Jay White. I take nothing away from the Switchblade. He is a terrific talent. He is an awesome person to listen to, because his promos are spot on and very, very good. I watched his promo that he cut on Ibushi here while you guys were talking amongst each other. I muted my mic and I listened to the promo he cut on Ibushi. Perfect going into tomorrow night. But I'll say this: if Ibushi does not win tomorrow, it will crush the hopes and dreams of wrestling fans everywhere.
He would crush my dreams. Don't crush my dreams, Gato. Please don't crush my dreams.
To continue on the God level talent that is Kota Ibushi, he has reached Super Saiyan God levels of wrestling manifestation. If we don't get a potential dream match down the road in 2021, the wrestling industry will have been robbed, and people and the executives in New Japan don't know what's good for them if they don't do the deal. If they don't do business, things will not go right. This is all about business. This is all about the money. This is all about the draw. These two gentlemen,
Sammy Callahan.
Sammy
Callahan. You said the draw.
His name. Golden Lovers. That's what he's talking about. Golden Lovers, please.
I'm talking about the man from Winnipeg and the Golden Star himself, one-on-one sometime down the road. Love Sammy Callahan, by the way, man. Props to him and what he's been able to do over at TNA Impact, whatever you want to call it nowadays. But
whatever name it is.
But I think that for the sake of the industry and for the sake of the business, New Japan needs to play ball. And I think that Impact saw a rating spike and viewership and engagement spike since Kenny's been appearing on Impact. I think it would work the same way for New Japan with a new US TV deal. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, AEW is seen in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So for whatever kind of UK TV deal New Japan does ink, I think it'll only benefit them to have some sort of crossover at some point during the year, be it with AEW or Impact. And, you know, everything just somewhat aligns and starts to continue to grow and evolve in that sense. But Kota Ibushi has done what I wanted him to do. As long as he continues to do that tomorrow night, I think that we are on a road for I don't want to predict the second wrestling explosion in the history of professional wrestling, but I think that there's a good possibility that something that I had in my head many years ago, where it's like, why don't all these indie companies and super indies come together and just do these big shows and cross-pollinate to take, not to necessarily compete with the WWE, but to give the alternative, you know? So in this case, with Kota's win, it sets up a good mental road for the wrestling fan for 2021. And he finally won the big one, right? He won the big one. He's got the monkey off his back. He's off the schneid, as they say in sports. So I want to say that quick bit, more drip. Jay White with an awesome suit to the ring during his promo cut.
I will say that I've made the comparison. I did recently today on Talk Wrestling with Alex McCarthy in the UK. I compared Jay White to right now to Triple H in 1999, where New Japan is kind of forcing their hand and making him the top heel, but it hasn't connected with all the fans just yet. So I think it's more about tomorrow, him having a great performance against Ibushi, who he has had his best match ever. His best match ever was the G1 Climax 29 Finals in 2018. That was in 2019, actually. That was his best match ever. So he just needs to match that performance tomorrow more than he does to win. It's all about him having great performance in the ring, which he did in the G1 Climax. And if he does it tomorrow, it will continue to further cement him as that top guy and that top heel in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We got WrestleManiac UK in the live chat here. He says, we all want Omega versus Ibushi. Amen. But I think that's actually next year's WrestleKingdom 16 main event. I don't think we get that match this year. I mean, I would love for it to happen this year because I'm a prisoner of the moment and I'm a professional wrestling fan who has no patience. But I'm willing to wait maybe 6 months. I'm willing for like Dominion or All Out for that to happen. But I don't know about waiting all the way to Wrestle Kingdom. You got to strike while the iron is hot, and the iron is hot for Omega to be this belt collector and this Thanos-like character, and it can develop throughout 2021. But I don't know if you wait that long to 2022. Even though I've heard, I think Luke Owen on our good friends over at Wrestle Talk on their predictions, he predicted Omega wins the G1 Climax to earn that opportunity at Wrestle Kingdom, which would be a good alternative. Omega winning the G1, back in the G1. I would love that.
Yeah.
We got Immortal Wizard in the live chat. He says, if Ibushi is God, he is immortal, so he won't die. Yes, I hope he doesn't die tomorrow and make this a one-day reign, because that would be awful. And Jay White says, Immortal Wizard says Jay White got good fashion choice. Absolutely. He was drippy in the suit. And then we got Uptown Avondale says promotions working together is almost a return to the territory days. If guys can go to other promotions for spells, it will keep the wrestlers and the promotions fresh. I 100% absolutely agree with that. We all are in support of that for sure. I think we didn't get your star rating for the matchup though. J-News, what was your star rating for the main event?
Star rating, I'm going to have to rewatch the match. I will go with 4.5 stars. The reason that's why I say I got to rewatch the match is for commentary purposes. And I will watch this match with Japanese commentary on for the feel, for the effect. Milano A1 will always be the man in my ear with all of his boisterous and emotional reactions. I love Kevin Kelly now, and decent. I missed Gino Gambino here for some reason.
Yeah,
like there were certain spots where I was waiting for the "How dare you!" How dare you! I didn't get it.
And the wait for Fale, it would have been nice to have Gino on this one, but I don't blame you. 4.5, 4 3/4 is definitely where this match was at. Very quickly before we wrap things up, fellas, let's give the rest of our predictions for Wrestle Kingdom 15 Day 2. Yeah, StatKing.
One quick thing. One of the things I absolutely loved about this match was almost nothing to do with the in-ring stuff itself. It was Ibushi being confused and not understanding that he had won.
Can we talk about this for a spell here?
Because he was still trying to cover. He was still trying to pin Naito after the bell had rung and the music and just the emotion that he's able to convey.
Right.
Just not understanding that he'd finally done it.
I'm here so lost because there's no so for all intents and purposes, just to break it down for folks or whatever, this is why commentary helps, right? If you're watching something on mute, especially if it's a wrestling show, right? I know Ibushi wins because Red Shoes hits the 3 count, right? And then so the I don't think the lights come on or whatever the case is, and everything starts to go. Everything stops. Red Shoes gets the belts or whatever the case is. And I was like, all right, cool. It's Ibushi's coronation, and Ibushi's still there next to Naito, and I'm like, oh, when's he gonna get up? And he doesn't get up.
He doesn't realize.
I guess he just talks to Naito or whatever the case is. They're giving each other props and shit, and then he goes for the cover again. And I'm there like, what the fuck just happened?
No, he did not. Ibushi did not. What was going on was Ibushi did not realize that he had actually won. He thought the match was still going on. He thought Naito had kicked out of the V trigger than the Kamigoye, and so it was just like that level of you're trying to get to the mountaintop. When you actually get there, it takes a second before you realize it. And that is, like you have, like, there's obviously the Shawn Michaels moment where he, just comes down and everything. And that's the famous that WWE uses a lot. This was Ibushi going,
You won?
Oh my God, I did it. Oh, wait. Oh my me. I did it. Like, that was his moment.
He is God now.
Yeah.
He's no longer Ric Flair. Because remember, back when Ric Flair was in Impact, he was calling himself God. And he ain't God no more. It's Ibushi.
That was next level artistry by Ibushi, and you gotta give him credit because not everybody can pull that off, but his facial expressions were just amazing. And then the great moment with Naito handing him both titles. That's what wrestling is all about, and just that feeling that you got when you saw him do that. Just a great moment in Wrestle Kingdom history, and it's on our thumbnail for this video here. So we got New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 Day 2. Very quickly, we just need to give our predictions. You see the matches right here. We got Wado and Taguchi versus Despy and Kanemaru. You got Evil versus Sanada, Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi, and Ibushi versus Switchblade. We gave our predictions for Hiromu versus Ishimori and the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 already. StatKing, start with you. What's your prediction for these 4 matches?
I'm going to go with Suzuki Gun retaining the junior heavyweight tags. I'm going to go with Jeff Cobb getting the never open weight. I'm going to go with J-News' boy Sonata winning, because if I don't, J-News is going to reach to the screen and kill me. and I will reluctantly go with Kota Ibushi retaining over Jay White.
Very reluctant. J-News?
I'll say this. I'm not too sure how hurt Kanemaru is currently with his knee problem. So this will be an upset victory for me. They will give a short title reign to the one and only, way to the Grandmaster, Master Wato, and Taguchi will win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship belts tomorrow night. Not knowing who they're losing to eventually, but they will get the win tomorrow night at WrestleKingdom. I know I'm wrong, but whatever. I'm just stirring the pot. I'm here to stir the pot, y'all. I'm here to stir the pot. And then I can't disagree. Jeff Cobb wins that match against Shingo Takagi, even though I love Shingo. He's an LIJ brother. Los Ingobernables de Japón. I always got to say it that way. But I would say Jeff Cobb gets the win so that the Empire ends up looking strong out of Wrestle Kingdom somewhat. And then we have
Evil versus Sonata. We know your prediction. So move on. No. Ibushi versus Switchblade.
Hold on a second. So God wins his match tomorrow. No. God wins his match tomorrow. God will win his match tomorrow.
Is this where you book Sonata facing Ibushi?
No. Not yet. God wins his match tomorrow. He'll take that over Jay White. But I think to both of your points, Jay White has to put on a performance of a lifetime so that he finally gets over the hump with the fans and the base, so that his character can be a little bit more accepted, because he's really in between right now and stuff like that. So I think that's important for Jay White to have a very strong performance. And Sonata versus Evil. Obviously, if you watch J-News Japan, you understand my love for one Seiya Sonata. Here,
it's more than love. It's an obsession.
Here's the thing, right? We've seen this more aggressive version of Sonata, right? And it goes to show for more character evolution and more character growth and stuff like that. It's a point that I brought up to Sid in one of our previous recordings for the other pay-per-views, where I feel like it with Naito's loss yesterday, or tonight, should I say, or whatever. Is there a possibility that if Sonata wins his match versus Evil, that Sonata starts to break away from LIJ? That's a story that can happen. And I'm not booking Sonata versus Ibushi. Like, that's not going to happen for a while or whatever. But more of the story is now that Naito's no longer the champ, does his leadership hold the same weight, right? And if Sonata wins his match versus Evil, now Sonata's got this ultimate win against his former partner in LIJ, and he's in a better position now than Naito is to go after the championships if he wanted to, right? If he wanted to. So that can be a developed storyline from there on out as well. There's many different places, but I don't feel Evil will get any sort of
offense then?
Not offense, but vindication, right? Because Evil's going to get his offense in. Dick Togo's going to get involved. We're going to see some more chicanery from Evil Dick during this whole entire match. We're going to see more of it. But this time, Sonata will overcome. This time, Sonata will win, because Sonata's going to have another level of aggression and intensity and brand of violence that Evil has not been privy to before. And that's going to be the ongoing storyline for Sonata throughout the year. I think that's really more or less where that's going to go and stuff like that. So, yeah.
All right, so that's the predictions for you guys for day 2. I'm gonna go with Suzuki-Gun to successfully defend the junior heavyweight tag team titles I agree with you guys. Jeff Cobb becomes the new never open weight champion. I'm going to disagree because I said J-News very quickly. Go through your predictions for day 2. You gave us a whole soliloquy about why Sonata. Obviously, you were going to go for Sonata to win. So I'm going with Evil to win now. And Kota Ibushi defeats Switchblade. But J-News, where can they find you on social media and right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel?
On social media, you can catch me on Instagram _JONJY John J, and here. That's right here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel on J-News Japan. You can catch me on a weekly basis, just going about the business.
And StatKing, where can they find you on social media as well as the True Heel Heat YouTube channel?
You guys can catch me in our Facebook group getting into arguments with people that I probably should not be getting into because some of you guys have some very interesting opinions. And you can always, as always, catch me covering almost all the wrestling that happens on Tuesdays on Dark Power, where we talk about AEW Dark and the NWA United Wrestling Network. And with my fellow co-host, the Roundtable Rebel, Ness, you can catch me covering everything that happens inside of a Ring of Honor ring on Review of Honor. And yeah, thanks. This has been a great show. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, and we got our final comment in the comment section. Jeff Cobb might eat Shingo tomorrow. So very quickly, thumbs up or thumbs down for New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 day 1 in 3, 2, 1. And I am going to go with giving this show a 9 out of 10. How about you, J-News?
I give it a solid 90%, 9 out of 10 makes it for me.
And you, StatKing?
Also 9 out of 10.
And we had WrestleManiac UK said, great show, guys. Enjoyed watching this while the UK Prime Minister put the country back into lockdown. Stay safe, brothers. And you guys all in the UK, stay safe for sure. We wish you the best of luck with going back into lockdown and hope everyone is staying safe out there. A happy New Year. Happy Wrestle Kingdom Day. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at True Hill Heat. Like this video. Comment down below. Let us know what you thought about Wrestle Kingdom 15 day 1. And we will be back with Wrestle Kingdom 15 day 2 roundtable review. Either will be up on the YouTube channel tomorrow or on Wednesday, so check that out for sure and let us know what you thought about the entire Wrestle Kingdom 15 weekend. So for J-News, for the Stat King, it is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 day 1 roundtable review live for you guys. We are signing off until next time.
Hey.